monsters come from? The most popular answer lies inside. When I say monster, that leaves a lot up for interpretation, admittedly. There are monsters that come from nightmares. Creatures that are conjured up from the brain, going through its cycles during the night. These could range from simple horrifying faces to arachnid monstrosities that creep up your bed. There is also actual monsters, people driven to commit atrocities for the benefit of themselves and the expense of others. However, this won't be something as rigid as a history lesson. It won't be necessarily abstract either. This is a playful exercise. So ask yourself, with a little less complexity in mind, where do monsters come from? The answer I had the most fun with was, they don't exist in our reality. So what makes us able to still perceive these nightmarish beings? Occam's razor would determine we have a way of peeking into this alternate reality. There are small openings in the veil that separates us. Perhaps consciousness is vulnerable to small rips. The more our imagination runs wild, the more these abominable creatures are able to manifest. It would be quite a shame if one of these holes was a little too big. This is essentially where the center of my ideas revolve around, openings that lead to the travel between dimensions. Imagine a place where every monster, every creepy crawly, every single disgusting, terrifying thing existed. At first I only imagined darkness, but there's no fun in that. You can't see the monsters if there's always blanketed in a pitch black void. Maybe it's a set of pocket dimensions then, each that has its own monster adapted to its own environment. What would then make more sense for such varieties as a giant serpentine monster lurking at the depths of a swimming pool, or a swarm of large colorful insects that invade your parents' bedroom? At the same time, however, we tend to associate monsters with the darkness. We are afraid of the dark by default. Why? We don't see what's inside. We can't perceive what lies beyond the darkness that has the capability of biting our head off. We also mostly sleep at night, when these nightmares seem to seep into our psyche. What I'm trying to get at is, it doesn't have to be dark in their world in order for them to come here. It all depends on the time of day and our planet. Makes me wonder, can you have nightmares in space? A little off topic, but I'm guessing you get the picture so far. There are extra-dimensional monsters that are able to creep into our reality at night. Next, I had a question as to why these monsters exist to begin with. A theory I've been leading on so far is that they are psychic manifestations of our mind, projected into another reality, an immaterial space, kind of like the warp from Warhammer 40k. This would likely explain why dreams are a common way of them appearing. But if that doesn't satisfy you, consider this. If you don't know, there are numerous people who disappear annually without warning. There's sometimes not a single trace as to what happened. It seems baffling until you consider the bigger holes between realities, big enough for a human to slip out of. Maybe time works in a different way within these pocket dimensions, or they simply morph people into oddities, more accumulated to their new home. I would like to consider one last factor. What if the ideas in your head about a monster are not your own thoughts at all? In a tragic way, the lost souls want to go home, but the only bridge consistent is through the subconscious of other people. Then maybe the image of spiders, snakes, and misshapen fellows are a foreign psychic projection, rather than the other way around. What could be a soul-shattering roar from the depths could also be a cry for help.